stuff open here, and so you're gonna hear you're gonna hear some stuff here and there, okay? Because there's a highway, and I have to have these windows down. We need air circulation and things like that. Because again, to me, it is not hot outside. It's not. The humidity is fair. It's not too high. It's only February. Even though we're in Florida, I mean, the temperatures are warming up, yes, but it's not excruciatingly hot out there. It feels kind of nice for those of us who like this kind of weather, but it's not excruciatingly hot. So while those notifications are going out, let me go ahead and see if I can't make sure we're in a good spot. Make sure we're in a good spot, because I'm going to talk about something here. Yeah, truth seekers, come on now. We are truth seekers in God's reality. And, okay. All right. Yeah, truth seekers. Okay, there we go. All right. I'm going to go ahead and leave that there and give it just a couple of minutes. I know the sun does its crazy stuff here and there. And I just want to make sure that it's not blinding y'all. I want to make sure it's not blinding y'all in case I got to move the car. Okay. And so we continue to heal. That's right. That's right, everybody. You got to keep healing. In my case, for those who may not know, it's a physical healing that we are going through. And let me tell you, God is great. God is great. He's right on time. You got to remember that. God is a just-in-time God. We've talked about that. I got to bring it back. God is a just-in-time God. You got to remember that. Everything we go through is for a reason. So don't let the devil get in there and distract you. Okay? But we got to talk about this, because part of the renewing of the mind is truth seeking. We are seeking God's wisdom, right? We are seeking truths now. We've been lied to since birth about so many things. I know the Matrix don't want to let us go, but there's nothing it can do about that. The Matrix has to let us go, because when we have control of our mind, we walk away spiritually. It's a mindset shift. So God's plan is always the original plan. God's plan is always the original plan. Remember, God said that our thoughts are not his thoughts. But when we have a plan, right, he gives us a plan. You follow me here. I'm going to give y'all an example in just a second. Thank y'all for hitting the thumbs up, because this is a message I know a lot of y'all need right now. Because you got to understand, we have to unlearn the wishy-washy thinking that the Matrix conditioned us to have. Because, believe it or not, this was a subtle way of second guessing myself. Even though we are fully healed from the trauma, emotionally, spiritually, and psychologically, yet we are currently undergoing a physical healing that we did not see that happening, but it's a blessing in disguise. Okay, we're learning the lesson. And let me tell you, the lessons that I'm learning, oh my gosh, about how everything is so intimately related with our autonomic nervous system, our inner child. And I'm telling you, wow, just wow, 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 wow. And as God revealed more to me about areas on the body that need a little bit more self-care, we're good. And so yes, he has us taking a break from wearing chokers, because we finally saw the imprint. Exactly. And he said it's not that wearing chokers will slow down anything or what have you. It's just that you want to get as much oxygen outside and in as you possibly can for healing. So anyhow, and so if I wear a choker, that minimizes the amount of oxygen getting to the skin. And so, this is going to be for somebody too, okay? We're going to get back to it in just a moment. Thank you, Holy Spirit. God's plan is the original plan for whoever needs to strengthen your neck muscle. Here's what I found. I did the research, and they said if you do this, okay, if you take one arm and you just gently press, right, like anywhere from like 7 to 10 seconds, believe it or not, you'll feel it, okay? And then you do the other side. It's like you push on it to strengthen the neck, and then you do the same thing. Push forward, okay? And then there you go. That's real simple. Up to about 10 seconds all the way around, a couple times a day, and you'll notice within a couple of days of doing that, if you need to strengthen your neck muscle, you'll feel it. You'll notice it. Oh yeah. Okay? It may not seem like it much, but there's neck strengthening exercise. And I don't recall the article, the author, but let credit go where credit is due. You can Google that. That's what I did. I Googled neck exercises, and that's one that stuck out. I said, okay, we can do that. We can certainly do that. And then, of course, if you need to strengthen your tongue muscle, okay, real simple. All right, anyhow, but you got to take the time out to do it. But God's original plan, okay, God's original plan is always the one you want to go with. Because mindset renewal requires listening to God, knowing that, okay, God's guiding our steps, okay. The example I have for y'all is the little project I'm working on. And it required some tape. Now, I have some regular, good old-fashioned Scotch tape that says on it, it's supposedly stronghold. Well, yeah, it is. It holds pretty strong. Like, tape the papers up to the wall, and it holds really well. So I said, okay, I've got that tape. And the original plan was to use that tape for the project. Somewhere over the weeks, I second guessing, and I said, I wonder if packing tape would work better. See, here I was trying to find something that was going to work better than something that already worked pretty well. I had to learn that lesson. So I'm sharing it with y'all because I did. I started the project and I went with the packing tape. The packaging tape. No, it's made for cardboard, not for the type of material I was trying to tape that had some paint on it. I said, oh gosh, wow, hold on a minute. And so I went and I got my roll of Scotch tape, the stronghold stuff, and sure enough, it worked. And I heard the Lord say, always stick with the original plan. When you stick with the original plan, it's God's plan. It reminds me of when we were in school. How many of y'all, let's drop it in the comment below. Okay? Let's drop it in the comments below. You're talking to me. All right? Let me know. Say you're talking to me. Because I'm not alone here. How many quizzes did we take while we were in school, right? Multiple choice. And we always had the initial, we know that answer. Boom, right? We picked B, right? Maybe we knew the answer would be. And then, because we had 15, 20 minutes left to go back over everything, right? Yeah, we had enough time to go and double check, right? And so we would go to that one and we'll go, wait a minute. And we start second guessing ourselves. Wait, maybe the answer is C. Maybe it's not B, but it's C. Okay, yeah, C. It's C. All right, so we'll cross out B, erase it, and then circle C, right? Drop it in the comments on the replay, too. You're talking to me. You talking to me. Because when we got our paper back, we got the grade. Come to find out that we were right the first time. The correct answer is B, not C. But because we second guessed ourselves. See, that's part of the traumatization. So that's what it reminded me of when I was second guessing myself with the packaging tape versus the I knew it. You're talking to me. Drop it in the comments. Okay? We got that paper back. We were like, oh man. I mean, we still got good grades or decent grades, but we went back. We're like, darn, man. And honestly, I think now we're learning the lesson, but in a different way. We are learning the lesson, but in a different way, because this is the truth, y'all. This is truth. This is all purging that subconscious. This is truth seeking. I am Michelle Dickey, your host for CHA's Truth Seeker podcast on the YouTube channel, Narcissism and Cognitive Dissonance, where trauma healing and spiritual growth are front and center while combating radio frequencies for healthier living. Oh man, I'm telling you, I said, that's it. Because now, whenever we do that, and I'm talking to God, and I said, you know, I said, I know, and the first thought, even because I was like, because I'm going on, wait a minute, our thoughts are not God's thoughts. You got to be able to tell the difference. And so it was God telling me to use that Scotch tape because it is super whole, and it does work, and it will work on that material, because I've used it to tape papers to the wall, right? My vision board and whatnot. I said, yeah, and it does. It holds just fine. And then also my reminder list on the cabinet, I use it for that too. And it holds just fine. But I sure did. I went and got me a little thing of packaging tape. And I thought I was gonna do one better. Nope, because you can't do better than God. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is definitely a cannot. I mean, we just cannot do better than God. God's original plan. You got to stick with the original plan. That is the lesson here. That's the lesson we're learning. And we finally learning the lesson not to second guess. Because when God is guiding on step, it's God plan. He's giving it to us. He's given us that plan. Because I will tell you that ever since being more disciplined with following the original plan, things go a lot smoother. Despite the crazy making out there in the Matrix. And despite, I had one day, like a week or two ago, I had one day where I was like, man, things just did not seem to be lining up. I thought, well, it's like a weird day. Because I didn't follow the plan. I was trying to switch things up. See, when God switches things up, it's completely different. I was trying to get ahead of God. I was trying to get, I thought I was going to do one better. You see? And God's like, no, it don't work that way. It's not high-minded. We have to unlearn that part of trying too hard, if you will. You know, it's like I was just trying too hard. But I've heard God say that a lot over the last several weeks. He said, stop trying too hard. He said, you don't have to try too hard. Like when I'm getting them back, right? We weight training and stuff. And he says, because you ain't got to try too hard. He said, look at them trainers. They tell you about 7 to 8. And I'll even go up to 10. Because I like to keep, you know, like 10 curl. And then put it down for a few minutes. Go work on the glutes. Yeah, go get that step out. Step. All right, work on that. All right, then go back, do 10 more. He said, don't try too hard. He said, you're trying too hard. And so when I try to switch it up, when God's like, stick to the original plan. So it's a whole nother mindset shift that we got to do, chosen one. It's a whole nother mindset shift in God's reality to renew that mind, purging that subconscious. Because a lot of those habits are habits that we picked up through the conditioning of the Matrix. And I was just like, oh my gosh, that's true. I was not following the plan, the original plan. It's like I talked about yesterday too, and elsewhere, that even if I have several things on the list to plan for the day, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to go in that order. It's going to go in the order that God has us do things. So, right. And so, I thought that remember, my thoughts are not God's thoughts. So I had to make a early morning run for some toilet paper and stuff. And so God told me, he said, yeah, go early. I'm going to show you something. Oh, he did too. And, I said, okay, I have these chores, household chores that I want to get done. And by the time I got back, it was, I was a little hungry for some lunch. And I got this list. And so we're sticking with the original plan to get it all done. Just didn't really know what order. I knew we'd get up here around 2:30 p.m. Eastern time with this live podcast, Truth Seekers. And I said, okay, so I know we're going to do that. We know what time and all of that. I said, I know what time we got to get to where we're going to get set up. But after I got done eating a little bit of lunch, because I already had my shower and stuff, I said, okay, so what are we going to do now? Because I've already done self-check-in. We know where we're at in the physical healing. We know self-care areas. We know where the bruising is. Yep. And we know we've got the strategy in place. Like God says, all set. Okay, we're all set. So now what? And so I'm looking at the list. And he told me, he said, all right. He said, I want you to do that chore first. All right. Okay. So while I had a little cup of chili. So in the process of, because I'm learning how to slow down and not eat all of that in one setting, because we don't have to do that. That's how we burden our digestive system, because we were conditioned by the matrix to believe that we sit down with let's say a cup of chili or a bowl of chili or whatever, right? And we were conditioned to believe that we got to sit there and eat that entire bowl or cup in one setting. No, we don't. No, we don't. It is actually better for your digestive system if you eat, instead of woofing it all down within 12, 15 minutes, take a half hour to 45 minutes to eat, if you can, right? I mean, on average, most people get an hour for lunch, right? Okay, well, I mean, I understand that depends on what you're going to do. You're going to go out to lunch, how long it's going to take, da-da-da-da-da. But I'm saying in general, when you sit down to eat, we don't have to eat it all right then, within the first 15 minutes. No! We got to unlearn that. And so as I'm eating a few spoonfuls of chili in between the chore, taking my time, we don't have to move too fast. And so we got that one done. Okay? And so I'm looking at the list and I'm like, all right. And then he says, okay, the next chore. So as far as like sweeping and mopping, that's stuff that we do every evening. So we already know that's coming later, right? I was like, all right, that comes later. And so now I have this other one. And it's not even 12 o'clock yet. Noontime, my time. And I was like, okay, wow, this is really intriguing. And that's when I found out that the packaging tape, nope, I had to go back to the original plan. And I said, oh my gosh, because I still didn't have a topic for today. That gave me my topic for today. That lesson right there. Because I'm going to tell you, I said, oh my goodness. Yep, it didn't take long for me to realize that packaging tape, not made for that kind of material I needed to tape. But the Scotch tape, I don't know. You would think, but no, it was really intriguing. And I said, okay, because the Scotch tape, the super hold Scotch tape, was the original plan. That was from God. Because when I was thinking about the project, and I was thinking about the types of tape to use, that was from God. He said you got that super hold Scotch tape. And so that's like answering B on the multiple choice quiz, right? And then the packaging tape was me going back and changing B to C and getting the answer wrong. I said, oh man, we just learned that lesson. It's about time. So God's like, yeah, stick with the original plan and things will work out. Things work out a lot better when you do that, because that's God's plan. God knows what he's doing. With God, all things are possible, so we got to listen. But I'm going to tell y'all something that simple. And I just was like, wow. Just wow, wow, wow. Yeah, and we do that whenever we would second guess ourselves like that. Why would we change our mind? Because we were conditioned to do that. Right, if we could hear God speak to us with our ears, we do. It's just not external, it's internal. You got to think about that for a moment. When we hear God, it's internally. God's not external, he's internal. So we hear him on the inside. Yeah. And we did. And yeah, and then we started to despise taking the multiple choice quizzes because of that. And I know I try to right, as far as the lottery numbers, I'm gonna tell y'all something about the lottery. It's not what you think it is. It's part of the game of narcissism. It's part of the show. Yeah. I don't mean to be a bearer of bad news for those of you who like to play for fun. That's fine. If you're playing for the right reasons, you know what I'm saying? If you're playing for the right reason, just playing for fun, that's one thing. But don't expect to ever win, because those things are staged. Okay, those things are staged. I'm not the only one who knows that. There's others out here. And so, okay, there you go. All right, awesome. Okay. And as for what time the stores open, that like Walmart open here, I want to say, well, I know that usually, early, and then there are those Walmarts around I don't know. I know it here in the U.S., depending on the state, the city, and all that, there are some that are 24 hours. So it just depends. But here, I really don't know. I think 9, 8, 7 maybe. I don't really know. I just know that I had to go like around 10 a.m. or so. And so they're always open then. But I don't really know. I know it's early. And then some, like I said, are 24/7. So that's that. Well, okay. How they manage to eat every couple hours, I can tell you how they do it, because I've done it. It's a matter of how much and what. Right. It's a matter of how much and what. It doesn't mean that you're eating a whole meal every 2 hours. So I look at it this way. All right, if you've got a dinner plate and you've got, let's say, 40 grams of protein in the meats that's on the plate, right? Got a couple pieces of meatloaf. You've got maybe some mashed potatoes, and then you've got your, let's say, green beans, or you can say broccoli and carrots, or what have you, right? You have a nice big plate. That's a fairly healthy, high protein, low carb meal. Now, take that dinner plate, though, and exactly separate it into 5 little plates. And then, of course, a protein shake with another upwards to 40 grams of protein. And so there's ways to do it. I've done it. And like that. But I have a snack tray. Remember the snack tray, y'all? Y'all can see that on the Patreon channel. I have a veggie and fruit snack tray, okay? Yeah. Veggie and fruit snack tray. Now, in this season, there's meat in there. We have like broccoli, cherry tomatoes, grapes, and then I've got some beef, cocktail shrimp, and chicken. That's the tray. We pull that out. That's what I call the grazing tray. So on days where, like yesterday was a different day because I drank a meal replacement protein shake. So that was not a grazing day. But on grazing days like that, to eat every couple hours when I'm weight training, okay, because I didn't do that yesterday. I took a day off from that. We did walk. But every couple hours, it becomes grazing day on weight training day. And so when I just pull the tray out, I have some unsalted saltine, okay? I have the saltine crackers with unsalted tops. And I'll put some butter on that. Instead of having bread and butter, I'll have that in place of to keep it low carb. That's right. And so we pull out that grazing tray. And then I have the sandwich plate, portion size. What I'll do is I'll take just a couple of pieces, okay, from the tray and put it on the plate. Then I'll put the actual tray back in the fridge and we'll graze on that on weight training days. Because it'll have some beef, chicken, it'll have that animal protein. Because usually by then, I've already had a protein shake. At least 25 grams of protein. I've already done that. Usually. So, you know, that's just how we do it. And that's how I do it. So that's for somebody. Okay? Because that was God's original plan for me. Years ago. Yes! I'm living the vision. I'm going to tell y'all, it can be that simple. That's why I was sticking with the original plan. That fruit and veggie tray, I had a vision for that years ago. But when I finally got in my own space and had my own refrigerator, I didn't have to share. I had room to do this. That I wanted a fruit and veggie tray. I want a tray that I can keep full. Or, you know, I can restock. But that I can have my daily fruit and veggies. But it can also be used for the animal protein as well, for grazing. Because I knew I was going to get back to weight training. I knew that. God did too. And so, getting back to that, you want the animal protein. So, that's what we got. God's original plan being played out. That was my vision, and that's what we're doing. And I'm passing it along to y'all, because that's wisdom. I'm not saying we don't have some noodles and bread here and there. But in moderation, because of the sodium intake, right? There you go. And so there's that. I have that. And so I have that sandwich plate, and I'll pull that out with weight training. And that'd be grazing. And I'll do that. If I do that a couple times a day, okay, that's great. But I have other stuff in there too. Like I might have like tuna casserole in there. I'm going to pull some of that out. You know, every couple hours. So it was kind of intriguing today because, yeah, 9 a.m. and then 11 a.m. Then 1 p.m. Now, from 1 to 2 p.m., I ended up snacking on a little bit more because I knew I was going to be out here at 3 p.m. doing this live stream. So I wanted to make sure we had enough in there. You see, okay. There you go. Now, if it not every 2 hours on the dot, it could be every 3 hours. And so that's how they do it, you know, in general. As far as now, it's going to depend on the type of bodybuilding they're doing. See, we're doing weight training. That's different. Weight training is different. Bodybuilding is that, yeah, that takes a whole lot more. So they might eat, you know, a hamburger every couple hours. I mean, a hamburger and then maybe a chicken sandwich and then maybe, I mean, I don't know. I'm just giving y'all the general way that for weight training, how I do every 2 hours. And yes, it's my ice water. We're remembering that now, so we don't sit here and get too hot on the inside. Okay, but okay, yeah. Right, eating regularly over the day and right, basically, yeah. I mean, just throughout the day. You know, every couple hours. Okay, so you have to remind yourself to eat. You know, it sounds like when the disciples had to remind Jesus to sit down and eat. Right, gotta get some protein. That's really the biggest thing. You want to think about if you are building muscle. And then don't forget about the creatine, y'all. Don't forget about that. The creatine, yes. CREATINE. Don't forget about that. If you are going to embark on any kind of weight training, you're going to want some of that. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. You're going to want some of that. Now, well, for those of us who are in the physical repair side, that a lot of the reason for me is because my muscles, wow, they were put under a lot of stress with that physical assault. So I got the creatine, and it's, you know, repair the muscle, repair the nerve. I talk more about that on the Patreon channel. It's true. When you can repair and feed the muscle, you repair the nerves, because your nerves run through the muscles, your autonomic nervous system. So it goes hand in hand. Because if your vagus nerve is stressed out, you're going to stress out the whole body. So there you go. Part of combating radio frequency for healthier living. I'm just giving y'all a little snippet right there. But there's more about that on the Patreon channel, because that's something that I've been noticing, tried and true. And, right, it helped with muscle building, yes. Because in order to weight train, you've got to have something to train, right? You got to have some muscle to train. And if your body was under any kind of physical stress for a long time, you're going to want some creatine and protein. And no, we don't do milk. No, we don't drink milk anymore. Remember, in the book of Hebrews, that's right. In the book of Hebrews, we are not children anymore in God's reality, so we're not drinking milk. Now, I'll still have some cheese or something like that. I get the whey protein powder. The creatine, I mix in just a little bit of water and let it dissolve, because it says to consume all at once. So you almost like take a shot of it. Once all of the powder, and they also have tablets and pills available with creatine. So, I mean, but I get the powder. And so I put it in a little bit of water and I let it dissolve. Now, I also have drops, liquid green tea extract. Yeah, antioxidant. So I'll put that in there and mix it. But a little bit of water. It don't take much. A little bit of water with a scoop of the creatine. You let it, right, let it dissolve. It takes a few seconds or so. I swirl it around. And I'll take a sip, and then I'll see some that still hasn't quite dissolved, and I'll shake it around again, and then I'll finish it off real quick. Boom. You want to get it in there. And the best, what I have found to work the best is on an empty stomach shortly after getting up and have your coffee or your tea or what have you. I found that it works. A lot of athletes, I did the research, and they said that a lot of them will do their creatine either 1 hour or 1 hour before or 1 hour after their workout. So whatever works for you. And it also depends on your circumstances and reason for taking it. And so in my case, it does very well first thing on an empty stomach. Get it in there. Boom. Because it'll tell you on the bottle, when you first start taking it, it'll give you a loading phase. And so, like, for the first 5 days, you'll take several scoops throughout the day for the first 5 days. And then after that, 1 scoop per day. Okay? It'll tell you that. I guess that must be pretty common for actual weight training and bodybuilding. So, there you go. But in my case, the Lord had a small container. He told me 3 times a day. for X amount of days. In my case, for a little bit longer. And so now, right, until we made it to the ones a day. And then going forward, because we're not actually building, but we're training and staying toned, it may go to once a week. So it's just based on our goals and things like that. I'm not looking to get all buff. You know what I'm saying? That's not my goal. We know what we got the vision. We got the vision. That's all. We got the vision. I know some people be like, how is it that you're doing weight training and you're still healing from bruises? Let me tell you something. Because the weight training promotes circulation. You need circulation for the bruises to heal, right? Ding, 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 ding. And they're not that bad. Yeah, they're not that bad. And well, they're not bad at all. A lot of them are well on the way, like brownish, yellowish. So a lot of them are gone. But then you got some that's still brownish, yellowish, which mean exactly. So weight training actually helps to promote circulation and the proper use of the muscle. That's one thing that we've learned so far in God's reality too, about our body's circulation for that autonomic nervous system, right? Our circulation to get that nutrition that God needs us to have for healing and beyond, you know, for life, for healthier living. So, yeah, absolutely. A little here, a little there. It helps you promote circulation because proper muscle function, proper muscle usage, those right there promote proper circulation. One more time for those in the back. Proper muscle function, proper muscle usage. In other words, you got to use the muscle correctly. Promote proper circulation. There you go. Oh yeah, absolutely. And then over time, you know, your body knows what to do. Just let it do. Let it do. Let go and let God. Right? There you go. And stay with God's original plan. Okay? Stick with God's original plan always. Well, you know, it's kind of funny because I thought about that and I said, you know, the truth that I seek, oh, well, there are many. And we continue because I'm like, all right, so we know the devil's tactics to try and deprive our body of its health. It targets our, well, I mean, it's a spiritual battle for the mind. And a big part of the spiritual battle for the mind is a battle over our health, our actual physical, biological health. You know, the Matrix out here, you know, it talks about wanting to protect people's mental health. Really? 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 No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It wants people. That's what I'm telling y'all, because what a man thinketh in his heart, so is he, right? So if you sit there and you believe whatever professional is telling you about yourself, right? You go to one of these professionals out here. Let's say, well, now if you go to one of the good guys, this ain't gonna happen. If you go to one of the bad guys, this is what's gonna happen. You're gonna get misdiagnosed with something that don't exist. That's what's gonna happen. You go to one of the good guys, and they gonna tell you, oh, just give it time. That's a pinched nerve. It'll work its way out. But if you go to one of the bad guys, they're gonna try and diagnose you with something, make you think you got something wrong with you, and put you on some pills you don't need. That's the difference. Discernment. You go to one of the good guys, they'll tell you, oh, it's just a pinched nerve. It'll work its way out. And they may even give you some stretches that you can do. That's what the good guys do. They're honest. The bad guys are the ones that want to put you on a bunch of stuff you don't need and misdiagnose you with something. Try to put a label on you. And so, yeah, I've been very fortunate. And I'm not the only one to have had some of the good guys in my life that I've gone to when I didn't know anything else. I didn't know about radio frequency poisoning at the time. I didn't know, you know what I'm saying? Right. And that's why I can use the pinched nerve as an example, because that's exactly what happened. They told me it was just a pinched nerve and it will work its way out. They didn't give me any stretches that I recall, but they just said, basically they said, if you take a typical, like a Tylenol or something like that, if you need it. They were very adamant about if you need it. I'm telling you, that's what I'm saying. There's the good guys out here. You just gotta, I'm not big on luck. I try not to use that word. In fact, that's what I'm working on in this season, y'all, is purging that word from my vocabulary. Yeah, the word luck. Because ain't nothing luck. Ain't nothing luck. There's no luck to nothing. No, it's God. A lot of people be like, man, she's lucky that she's still getting up here doing live like she is after that physical assault. She's lucky. Some people might be thinking that, but you're thinking wrong. That ain't luck. That's God. I want y'all to put that in the comment and say, it ain't luck. It's God. Put that in the comments. It ain't luck. It's God. Because that's going to help me too. Because I have got to purge that. We all should purge that. Purge the word luck from our vocabulary that don't exist. I know we got that, what's that green holiday coming up? Never mind. That talks all about that. There you go. It ain't luck. It's God. You got that right. All right, y'all. Remember that. Because there ain't nothing, nothing that we get done or accomplished is because of luck. It's all because of God. Remember, it's through Christ who strengthens us. Right? So as we continue to go through the renewing of the mind, and God gives us a plan, we got to stick with that plan, the original plan. That's God's plan. Right? We're not the ones that can switch things up. We got to let God do that. God switches things up, not us. See, that's the thing. We got to learn so much. And we're just beginning. This is just the beginning. I'm telling you, it's just the beginning. Just the beginning. Well, because, that lesson that we have to learn in life, y'all, it really, it is something. But let's not do that, because that really is just kind of like the subtle way that we would second guess ourselves. And that's getting ahead of God, or trying to. And so I'm like, all right, the original plan. We got to stick with the original plan. I have another example for y'all. Okay. Oh my gosh. Yes. Okay. I had it on the calendar. I said, I've got a star. And I said, I'm going to go. And there's a place that I want to try a dish that they make. And so we made plans to do it a particular day. Well, something's come up where I had to, let's just say, some resistance. Okay, it was trying to impede. So I had to do a workaround to get around that resistance with God, right? You'll find out. You'll find out soon enough. I can't say nothing right now. I'm just giving y'all the example, the original plan. So I was thinking there's this other place that happens to have a restaurant. I'm just going to say it's a hotel and it's got a restaurant with it. And I've been wanting to try that restaurant for some time. I said, well, you know what? The same kind of cuisine. I wonder if I just went there for the dish I was going to go somewhere else for. And so I was going to work, right. And then so when I was doing some checking on some stuff, whatever, it's like, it just wasn't working out. I said, to get around that resistance, I don't want to spend, I should not have to spend that much, like, to get around that resistance. I have a budget here when it comes to that stuff, Oh yeah, when it comes to getting around the devil's resistance inside the matrix, I have a very strict budget because we don't want the devil, that's right, keeping the devil out of our finances as much as possible. So whenever I got to get around the devil's resistance with the game of narcissism it likes to play inside the matrix, we go cheap. Well, I'm not going to say cheap, but at least amount as possible for that. Getting around the devil's resistance. We want it to be, right, we don't want it to cost an arm and a leg. Right? It'll be the least expensive possible. Right. Less expensive. So, to fit in our budget, like I said, I do have a resistant budget. That's what I would call it. It is a resistant budget. Because when I have to get around, some of y'all are going to give y'all another example about how we got to stick with the original plan. I'll give y'all an example. And so what I was doing was I was explaining to y'all that when it comes time to get around the devil's resistance inside the matrix, I have a budget, a very strict budget. As low cost as possible. Yes. Okay? As low cost as possible. It's not scarcity mindset. No. But, right. Because of the reason why I have to do that. It's ridiculous. Anyhow, that being said, I was talking about there was this place where it's got a restaurant that served the dish that I want to try at another place that I already had planned, the original plan to try, right? Okay, well, since I was, as I was looking into the other place as a means of getting around the resistance, it was way out of our budget. I said, okay, that's going to have to be for something else. That's going to be later on. And so, full circle, I actually had one place in mind to go to get around that resistance. And that ended up being the very place that we did. Okay? All right? Yeah, that was lined up. That was the original thought, original plan. And then the Lord and I worked out something else because of that day. And I said, well, okay, I was going to do this, but we can do this. And then he said, and then look at the calendar. He said, on this day, you can still go try that dish at that place. The original plan. Stick with the original plan, he said. Stick with the original plan. Now, everything, because I was trying to check some other things out. I was trying to juggle another way on something that we were planning on for later anyway, like to do at another time. But I was thinking, well, maybe we're trying to speed things up, trying to get ahead of God. We just can't do that. So it's not a coincidence that we made it 40 minutes or so into this stream and the phone got too hot as I started talking about getting around the devil's resistance, being low cost, and then that's not a coincidence. Not a coincidence. Not at all. But I wanted to give y'all that example about sticking with the original plan. Because that's how important it is. That when you have something, God has you map something out. And that stick to the plan. Things will run a lot smoother when you stick to the plan. Stick to the original plan, he keeps saying. And I'm learning. It's taking a while because it's like we want so badly to fulfill our heart's desires, but we need to remember that, guess what? What are we told in the book of Psalm? What did God tell us in the book of Psalm? He said, as long as we're resting in Christ, he will grant our heart desires. See, that's the thing, is that us trying to grant our heart desires is flesh. That's fleshy. So it's letting go and letting God, right? And so this is part of that. We're learning how to, we've already let go and let God in a lot of ways. But apparently I still had that. And I'm not the only one. So that's why I'm getting up here and I'm letting y'all know this. Got to stick with the original plan. If you want things to go smoothly, Because God is a smooth operator. Let's put that in the comment below, even on the replay. God is a smooth operator. God wants things to go smoothly. He does not do chaos. He does not do drama. And so when I was getting in there and I was trying to change the original plan, you see, because I was thinking something that I know we'll get to do in the future, I'll go try to make it happen now because of just a short trip around that resistance. I mean, very short. It's like, you ain't got to do that now. Okay, so we're just going to get around that resistance. And then everything else that you've got going, the original plan, keep going. Keep going. The original plan. That's what he says. Stay with the original plan. Because God is a smooth operator. Well, that's it, Chris. Thank you. As soon as I mentioned the devil, the phone heats up. That was funny. That's it. As soon as I mentioned getting around the devil's resistance, the phone heated up. And I've got the window cracked. It is not hot outside. I'm telling you. Yep. Exactly. That's why I wanted to get up here and talk about sticking with the original plan. Because it can apply in so many areas of our life, things that we would not think about before. This is all part of the renewing of the mind. Because, well, yeah, it really is. It's all part of the renewing of the mind because we have to purge that subconscious, like we have to really, it's like God, you know, while he's doing the transformation and while we are becoming a new creature, right? Okay. Yeah, in Christ, you know, old things passed away. So this is part of the passing away of old things, old thinking patterns, old ways of trying to do things and trying to make things happen. Because what I was doing was getting in there instead of going, hey, what was the first original thought, the original plan? Okay, just go there. Get around the resistance and keep going. Stick with the original plan. It was really simple. Boom, boom, boom. But here I was looking up this, looking up that, looking at this, and I'll go make a mess of it. That's why gosh, man, wow, it's so true. How when we try to get ahead of God, we mess things up. And I could have totally messed that up. Because God's like, it could have turned out to be chaotic. It could have turned out to be, I mean, who knows what. But God said, just do it this way. He said, just do it this way. The original plan. The original plan. Stick with God's original plan and it goes smooth. It'll go smoothly. But if we try to get around all that, and we try to switch things up, trying to make things happen ourselves, we're going to screw it up every single time. But when God had that original plan, boom, 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 there you go. Go with God's original plan. You will see it will go smoothly. There will be no chaos. There will be no drama. There will be no, hey, it's all good. So I was like, okay, because that's another way of us protecting our peace. And, well, God protecting our peace, too. Because, well, if we had gotten in there and we switched things up, and let's say I had gone another route than the original plan, I could have disrupted my peace. You see? And God's like, not going to let that happen. We got the power and authority on the inside by God to not allow that to happen, but we got to be recognizing when we're doing stuff and that could be self-sabotaging. Yeah, exactly. Got to stay with that original plan. And then, right, overthinking it. Oh, gosh, yes, we overthink it. That will spoil the plan. Bingo, right there, Chris. Thank you. We were. God is a smooth operator. Thank you. Right, why? Too many cooked things don't work. Too many. When you try to do too many things at once, and it's not going to work out, right? Yeah, been there. I mean, we've done that. So I had to get up here and talk about this truth and God's reality about when God gives you that original plan, you gotta stick with the original plan. And really seriously, because that's how, and I can recall many times in my life where the chaos and drama, even though I did not initially cause it, but why it showed up when it did, because not just the narcissist, but because I went in and tried to switch things up. I messed up the original plan. And it, you know what? It's just an old habit. And now that we understand, because now I got a better understanding why over the last week, that's what God kept telling me every single time. Like if I'm going down the road and I was going to the original plan, we're going with the original plan. And I was like, well, what if I go ahead and just do this on, God stepped in and said, stick with the plan. He kept doing that. And I was like, okay, we're going to stick with the plan. Even though, stick with the plan. Even though, like, as I was going one place to do one thing, another thing I wanted to do was right on the way. He told me, no, he said, stick with the plan. Even though it would make sense, well, because that one's on the way to that. Yeah, no, you got to remember God's timing. That's the point here. Y'all, seriously, that is the takeaway right there with the truth. Why it's so important to stick with the original plan, because that's God's plan, because it's God's timing. Okay? For example, whatever it was I was going to get at the one place that would make sense to stop off on the way to the other one that I was going to first, because God would say, no, go there first. Okay? Even though it's like, okay. He's like, go there first. Because what I was going to get, right, might not have been there had I, you know what I'm saying? They might have been sold out if I had made that detour to get the other thing, if I had messed things up. Because God's timing, God knows. It's like when you are after something, or you know, hey, I want you to go and get this. God's the one that knows that it's going to be available at that time. So going away from God's original plan. See, that's the other thing. Is that timing is always on God's time, because God is a just-in-time God. So let's say, okay, yeah, I know we're going to go get this at this place, and this place happened to be on the way to the other place that we were headed to. Right, if I had switched it myself and said, I'll just stop off here first on my way there, what I was going to get could very well have not been available at both places. So now what are you going to do, right? See, God wants to make sure we get what he needs us to get. So I want y'all to remember that, all right? Remember that. Because the old way of thinking would be like, well, but this store where I'm going to get this is on the way to that one. Yeah, but why God got me going? Now you know why. God has it going to the other one first. Even though we got to turn around and maybe make a U-turn to go to that one, you got to trust God's timing. That's what it's all about right there. Trust God's timing. If he has it going all the way to that first place, because he knows that when we get there, what we're going to get is going to be there. Okay, good. Now we've got it. All right, now, he knows. God knows everything, right? Oh, Alpha and Omega. So then, okay, now, go to the next place. It might be a half hour, 45 minutes. It don't matter, all right, later. And you say, well, that doesn't seem that long, but you never know. Because what you're going after, what you're going to get, might not be available if you switch things up. God's plan is very strategic. He knows, okay, you're going to go, you got it. It's in your hands what you were going after, what God needs you to get. Then you got to go, you got to turn around, you got to make a U-turn, okay, whatever. Now we go to the other place. What we're going after happens to be available. It's there. Now we got it in our hands. So remember that. Because I know it would make more logical sense in some way that you would stop off because that one's on the way, because That way you wouldn't have to do a turnaround and a U-turn. Okay, so what if you got to turn around and do a U-turn? It's God's timing, not ours. We have to remember that. He had me go on a day and get several things for kind of like a hunker down. I had to get some animal protein. And that's exactly how it went down. And I'm going to tell you, at least three times, God had to step in and tell me, stick with the plan. There was one thing that occurred that wasn't part of the original plan that God had me do for. God had us do something for appearance's sake. And he said, okay, go ahead and take that back to the room now. Keep going forward. So God will do that too. However, it did not switch things up. You know what I'm saying? It did. We got a couple of things that weren't on the list, but God had us get that for appearances. Camera, the devil's watching. Okay. Just bear with me, all right, y'all. We're not playing the game, but we learn how to keep the enemy at bay. It had to do with radio frequency poisoning, yeah. And it had to do with keeping up, because it works. Okay, we have to keep the enemy at bay, and God had us do that. He said, I know it's not on the list, not part of the plan, but grab those couple of items, because that's not like you to do that. So did that, but now because they had to go in the fridge. So it's like, okay, and then get back out and go in the plan, because I could have, but I did, and like I said, at least 3 times, he had to step in and tell me to stick with the plan. And everything went smooth as it was supposed to that day. No interruption, no attacks, no chaos, no drama. And we were able to obtain everything that God needed us to obtain, animal protein wise. So there you go. All right, I just have to tell y'all, it really is a great learning curve, and I can bring it here and share it with you all. So yes, you got to trust God's timing. So when God gives you the original plan, even if it doesn't make sense to you, you got to trust God's timing. There you go. That's it right there. That even if, right, social media, even if, listen, all of that right here, right? Things planned by the committee tend to be messy and needing to be reworked. Oh, of course. Of course. Deviate and devil both begin with DEV. Very good catch. Good catch. Great catch. So, right, the original intended destination, original plan is God's plan. So always follow it, because it's God's timing. The lesson. So there you go. Another one right there. If you are grocery shopping online, and so when the place suggests things that you didn't intend on buying, right, ignore those. Those are temptations from the devil. Stick with your original shopping list, because the original shopping list is the original plan, and God knows that. There you go. You got to stick with the original plan. Always. All right, everybody. And so I know and we had a few minutes where the phone got hot early on, within about 43 minutes or so, as soon as I mentioned the D word, getting around the devil's resistance. But we find ways around it with God always, by sticking to the original plan. The original plan. God's original plan as part of the renewing of the mind and purging that subconscious, unlearning old habits. And to stop trying to get in the way and stop trying to switch things up. Let God do the switching. Let God do the guiding. All right, everybody. So thank you to all who pledge service grant to this ministry. We are always accepting service grant, aka the world calls it donation. But we call them ministry funding, okay? For all who do that, thank you. The PayPal and Venmo links are in the description below for all who will. Yes, everything that you all sow into this ministry goes right back into our growing community of spiritual warriors for Christ. Sending love and light to all fellow warriors. Thank you for watching, listening, and for your continued support. Till next time, let's show some gratitude to the Heavenly Father, and you keep being you. In Jesus' name, amen.